Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
By the time the day is done, and before I go to sleep, I really have prepared myself for sleep to really relax and do breathing exercise before I go off to sleep. So when I go off to sleep, I really feel very relaxed and very comfortable. And then when I wake up in the morning, I feel like I'm like back at the starting line again. And so there's a part of me that says, well, you're doing something wrong. Another part, I'm puzzled.
Well, you could have that feeling because sometimes during sleep, there's a lot of activity going on in your psychic mechanism, and you wake up, you got to get a shower, you do a little exercise, you take a little walk, you get the sleep out of your system so you can do the day. I mean, I get up like that too, Bill. Sometimes I get up, I go, oh, crap, I got to crawl out of bed now. And, but then, you start doing your life and it works through all of that resistance and all that tiredness that you bring with you from a state of sleep. I wouldn't worry about that. That's okay. If the sleep is good, then, your system is relaxing and regenerating itself. And a lot of that you have to get rid of is just the sleep, moving into another state of consciousness from that sleep state. So, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you do whatever you need to do to start your day. And eventually it really goes away under that, that tiredness. So I wouldn't worry about this, Paul. This doesn't sound like a negative thing to me. It sounds like just what happens to just about everybody when they wake up in the morning. They have to shake the sleep out of their system. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. The situation is growing, and today I've had 57 people come to meditation today. And it's a lot of people, and it's all over the world, and I like that it's growing. I want to see it continue to grow. It's a lot for me to work with, because each and every person that attends should get the best that I have to offer, the best that this class can give them. And it requires very deep inner work. I'm grateful for the work, and because it's really helping me in my growth and my spiritual development. I don't mind more people coming. I do have a problem with people that tell me they're coming and then they never show up. I find that to be a little ridiculous, and then somebody, why doesn't Stuart put me on his list? Person was on my list and they never showed up, so I took them off the list. You don't invite somebody to a party at your house who never shows up for the party, So I think this is all important. Every single person that comes to this meditation deserves absolutely the best I can give them. And if people, feel, well, like, I don't have to go, I can go once a month, once a week, I really don't want those people in my meditation because there's nothing I can do for them. It requires a commitment. It requires work because I take 100% responsibility for every single person that attends these classes. And, if like there are people that come once a week, all right, but they get in touch with me. They tell me, okay, at least there's that level of graciousness, that they get in touch. They say, I can only come on a Sunday. Okay. The people I'm talking about, the people just vanish. And I think that is just a disservice to the incredible quality of this meditation. And it also tells me that people are not ready for it. They're just not ready to do it. They're procrastinating. They're looking for other stuff. It's all right. I'm not the only teacher in the world, and I'm not the only activity going on in the world. Thank God for that. But I know in order to get this, a commitment, a very deep commitment is really essential. Really deep commitment. And it requires letting go of stuff, other things that one has to do. And I'm telling you, today there are 57 people. I mean, that's a lot of people. I used to have that years ago on 4th Avenue. And, look, I was much younger and able to deal with that kind of stuff. But now I just want the people that are willing to come and make that kind of commitment twice a week, 3 times a week. And if you can't do that, then at least get in touch with me and say, Stuart, I have to do this and that, I can't. At least you're showing a kind of respect for the meditation and a respect for what's being given here. Does anyone have a question they would like to
ask? Just curious, how many times Rudy had experience to be a Kundalini experience? How many?
How many times? Rudy, almost every minute of his life.
Wow.
He was a living example of Kundalini, Rudy.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. He was the most powerful force of energy I had ever spent time around.
Wow.
Made all these politicians and people that supposedly have power, the Putins and the Schmutins and all these jerks, look like they were amateurs compared to. And the wonderful thing about Rudy is it came out in caring and love and nurturing and helping people to grow and giving life. That's the most powerful thing on the earth, to be able to do that. He was a living atomic bomb. It was amazing to be around him. You had to surrender everything to spend time around him. You couldn't have one opinion, one judgment. You had to let go of everything and then just take in the Shakti. And it was a way of growth. It's like these classes. You want to sit in these classes and judge me, you'll miss the whole class. You surrender everything and take in the Shakti. Let that energy really transform you inside. He always used to kid around, Rudy. He wasn't running for Miss America. He didn't care if you liked him or didn't like him. You were there for one reason, to get the energy. And I knew when I was around him, there aren't a lot of people I knew in my life, in fact, nobody that would provide that kind of Shakti and energy that I could use to. And when I was around him, I had no choice but to surrender everything, let go of everything. Stuart didn't exist anymore. I just needed that energy. And it broke my ego down. It broke the image I had of myself down. Whatever I was, it had to go by the wayside. Procrastination went by the wayside. Everything that my laziness, my this, my all had to go by the wayside. And as difficult as it was, I was so deeply grateful to have found a human being like that who would let me be part of his life. Because I was a pretty messed up kid.
And last moment about him by crash, this is really amazing, Dharma he did,
amazing.
but still have test to do, go through that. That is amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, look, Rudy always talked about he had still had work to do on himself. And how grateful he was to have people around him that demanded that he would do that kind of work on himself. I have the same feeling, you know, look, I mean, it just keeps, I mean, it just gets, it's starting to really grow. The level of teachings is on a totally different level. And I'm hoping that people take advantage of this. I really am, because my job is to nurture people, to help. I want somebody in the future to be doing this, what I do. You know, I mean it. Who has the guts, if you'll pardon my expression, the balls, the willingness to surrender, to serve God. And Rudy wasn't easy, you know, I mean, he used to bust my chops and this and oh boy. He would look at somebody and say, how come he's growing so much and you're such a jerk? You tell me this. I really mean this. And I would look at the person. I didn't see any growth or anything remarkable about the person. He's growing. And he was doing this to break my ego down, the image I had who I thought I was, you know? And he knew I could take it. I needed to have my ego broken down. He knew I could take it. I wasn't going to run away. Most people would just run away. How could he offend me? How could he say that to me? Well, who cared? You know, I saw what he went through with Muktananda. It was scary. How he had to surrender to be around Muktananda. I never saw anything like it in my life. It was one of the great periods of learning in my life, watching him around Muktananda. Incredible. And I said to him, Rudy, why do you have to put up with? He said, Stuart, he's the only person I've ever met in my life who can break me down. And Rudy was the only person I ever met in my life who can break me down, who could break me down. But the one thing about Rudy is there was no bullshit. It was all love. Even when he was kicking you in the butt, it was all done with love. It was done with, you know, providing teachings that could help you get over yourself, you know? He was like a great forest fire that was burning all the bullshit, and out came sweetness. Out came love, shakti, energy, growth. I mean, I once heard somebody, how can Rudy be my teacher? He's fat, he eats meat. You know, and I looked at it, and I'd look at Rudy, and all I see was light coming out of him, you know, energy, power, God. He's fat and he eats meat. How can I study with him? Go find somebody, you know, that'll give the nurturing.
He's surrounded by light. His body is shining of something. Yeah, probably.
Who will give you the kind of nurturing and teachings. You know, all this stuff I talk about, how did I learn all this stuff?
Right.
You know, I mean, there's these things I've been writing about Tantra. I don't know how many of you read them, but what did I learn about all this stuff? It's amazing. You know, it all came from my training that I got from Rudy.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions. And don't forget about this GoFundMe thing for Bob. This is very important. We have to support him as a community. He is a very important part of it. And, so please try to find a way of making some kind of a donation, either to send it directly through Zelle or one of those, companies that transfer money, or to put it in the GoFundMe thing. Okay, if there are no more questions, God bless you all. There'll be a meditation tomorrow evening. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you for being my teacher. We need a teacher too. All of you provide that for me. God bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you.